good. Hello, councilors. Councilor de Rosario, are you online? Please let us know if you actually can hear.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. So we're good to go, I guess. Thank you for joining us and allow us to have this meeting.
Good evening and welcome to the Public Safety Committee. Today is Wednesday, April 27, 2022. Pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Act of 2022, this meeting of the Public Safety Committee is being conducted both in person and via remote participation. A reminder that persons who would like to listen or view this meeting while in progress might either attend in person at the location above or use any of the following locations: the Lawrence City Council Facebook page or the YouTube Lawrence City Council page. Please join me for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, we have a few items tonight, and we would like to start with, from the top of the agenda, we have the Lawrence Police Department here. Thank you, Chief, for being here tonight. And we have a few items. Item 12422 is the enforcement plan for illegal, non-registered motorcycles. We would like to get the discussion started. I believe it's already in progress, but let's open the floor. And Chief, thank you for being here, and the floor is yours.
Good evening, councilors. So as you mentioned, I won't get into great detail. I'm going to have Lieutenant Cirillo talk about the plan itself. As you and I have spoken, I've spoken to some other councilors regarding this issue. It's very difficult for us to deal with. It's obviously not an issue just for Lawrence. You could Google a number of police chases, if you will, and come up with really the big issue for us in liability and in trying to deal with this issue. So we have a number of plans that we put in place to try to deal with the issue, and Lieutenant Cirillo will talk about that, so I'll let him give you an idea of some of the things that we're doing and then answer some of your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Good evening, councilors. Lieutenant Cirillo, Lawrence Police Department. Again, as the chief mentioned, illegal dirt bikes and ATVs have been a problem in the city of Lawrence and across Merrimack Valley over the past couple of years, and that trend continues into 2022. Chief Vask, Mayor DePena have made it a priority for 2022 to target illegal operation of these vehicles within the city of Lawrence. The Lawrence Police Department has requested the assistance of the Massachusetts State Police, as well as forming a dirt bike task force with our local law enforcement partners across the Merrimack Valley. This task force, along with the state police, will allow us to gather, share intelligence and information to combat this problem of illegal dirt bikes throughout the Merrimack Valley. Just to go over a few of the obstacles that we face, like the chief said, we have a no pursuit policy of reckless dirt bike operators due to the fact of the liability that it incurs for the police department and for the citizens of the city of Lawrence. Also, we're not allowed to block or obstruct the pathway of dirt bikes when they're taking off, and nor can we cut them off as they flee. Again, we can't use stop sticks. We can't use any devices that prevent the evasion or them to apprehend them. Some of the tactics they also use so that we can't identify them is they obstruct their plates, or you'll see sometimes that they lift their plates up so they're not visible to cameras as well as our plate readers. So again, that hampers the police department's efforts to use cameras to identify these individuals and these reckless operators. Again, we've employed some different tactics over the years, but in 2022, we've come up with an operational plan to kind of combat the dirt bike issue. Again, we're going to have a zero tolerance policy. We will arrest any individual that is operating in a reckless manner. Any dirt bike that's in the city of Lawrence being operated on city streets as well as in parks will be seized and go through the forfeiture process and fined. We are in the process of creating a city ordinance with the city attorney's office now to target illegal dirt bike operations. Several other cities and towns throughout the Commonwealth do have ordinances that address illegal dirt bikes, like the chief mentioned. Springfield, Worcester, as well as Boston have ordinances that target illegal dirt bikes and ATVs. Some of the things that, not to get into the whole ordinance, but some of the things that we'd be looking for in that ordinance to cover would be making dirt bikes illegal throughout the city of Lawrence, to be operated on city streets, city property, parks, conservation lands, and unless you have more than 2.5 acres of land, which most properties in the city don't have, it would be illegal to operate dirt bikes in the city of Lawrence. Some of the other things in the ordinance that we'd be looking to accomplish also would be to target filling stations or gas stations, making it illegal for filling stations and gas stations to fill up any person who is riding a dirt bike or a ATV or off-road vehicle. Again, that would come with a fine to the filling station if they did not cooperate with the ordinance of $200. Some of the other things that we're doing in addition to the ordinance, I don't want to tip our hand too much as far as some of the tactics that we're getting into, but we are monitoring the Bike Life social media pages for meetup locations where they're hanging out. We're promoting an anonymous tip line, encouraging citizens to call in to tell us where dirt bikes are being stored, whether in a home or a storage facility. We are having our SROs start a program where they educate the students at Lawrence High School in the dangers of dirt bikes as well as the RMV consequences if they're caught. So again, if somebody is under the age of 21 and they're operating a dirt bike and they're under a junior operator's license, if they're caught operating a dirt bike, they can lose their license till they're 21. So we're going to try to get the message out across the board on that. We've also, last year, during a couple of the operations, enlisted the Massachusetts State Police Air Wing to assist us with the operations and the compliance. That worked very well. We'll go back to using that again. We've also, at the chief's request, really going to use the city cameras a lot more. Again, city cameras can help us follow them back to some locations. Unfortunately, a lot of times, especially dirt bikes, they don't have plackets on them because they're illegal, so they don't have to be registered. But a lot of times, like I spoke, a lot of these people are either obscuring or tilting the plate up so we can't get a plate. But we are gonna try to use our flock system as well as the camera system to ID these individuals. What's that, Chief? No. So again, those are some of the tactics. I don't want to get into too many tactics that we are using to do this. We don't want to tip them off, but those are some of the things that we are doing to combat the dirt bikes. Do you have any questions about the plan that we have in place or we're trying to put in place, councils?
Thank you again for actually taking the time to putting this together in this update, which is very helpful. I have a few questions. So you mentioned that on the ordinance, the plan is to make dirt bike illegal, but they're already legal because they're not registered, right? Or what's the difference there?
Well, again, they are illegal, but they're not illegal to possess at your home, for instance. So again, you could buy it, have it at your house. What we're trying to move to do here is make it illegal across the city. So if, right now, say you had a yard that was big enough, you'd be able to operate that in your yard. Right now, we have no really guidance or ordinance that says that they're illegal throughout the city. So this would just be one more effort that would get us, over that goalpost to get that out there, that it's illegal to possess them, it's illegal to store them at your home, and they're basically illegal to use anywhere within the city.
Understood. You also mentioned that there was going to be fines related to this ordinance. Have you guys thought about what is the range of the fines?
In the ordinance, I think it's a $250 fine.
The max is $300 in Lawrence.
Again, we can go up to 300 if the council feels fit. Other cities and towns that we've looked at, it's a $250 fine. So again, I would leave that open to the city council and the mayor's office if they want to up the levy to 300. I don't think the chief has I think the more finage that we can get and the more penalty would be better off.
We currently have, you guys are working on an ordinance. You guys are working on developing a good plans to actually deal with the issue.
Yes.
That is definitely a good thing to know, since there is a lot of. It looks like it's going to be a lot of problem this summer.
Correct.
And working in a way that is proactive. That's always a good thing for the community. I know that a bunch of other community already adopt the ordinance of not selling gas to non-registered motorcycles. That's something that it's also being stipulated on the ordinance that you guys are working on.
Correct.
In case that you guys don't get into something tangible with other things, that could be a simple ordinance that could be worked out in the meantime, and probably what you guys can do while you guys working on that, every other details, is to advance this portion of not selling gas by itself, because it's already been drafted.
I think we have not to cut you off, but I think we have a really good ordinance right now in place that's going to go to the city attorney's office real soon, over the next couple of days. So our hope is that it gets pushed through and it comes right to the city council, so we can really get this up and running as soon as possible.
All right, that sounds good. And believe it or not, I mean, when you're trying to do something good, I mean, a lot of other people thinking the same thing. That's good. Because yesterday when we were in a meeting, I didn't know that you guys were working on this, and we were surprised that that's something in progress already. So I'm glad.
My boss is, I don't know if you know, but he's pretty tough.
I know. Well, I open the floor to Councilor Infante.
Thank you. Hi, Lieutenant. How are
Hi,
you?
good evening. How are you?
Good. I just have a comment. I think everything that you guys, the Lawrence Police Department, is working on is great. My only comment is to ensure that the department comes up with a great marketing or communication strategy outside of social media to get the word out once we completely, you know, if this passes, that dirt bikes and all of that becomes completely illegal. We have to meet people where they are. Not everybody follows social media or follows the Lawrence Police pages or the mayor's office, et cetera. So we just have to make sure that it's out there, because there's a lot of people who own these bikes and, you know.
Yeah, and we've also got our signboards out right now, a few signboards that say, you know, illegal dirt, you know, dirt bikes are illegal, you know, punishments, fines, blah, blah, blah. So we'll definitely get some more. And we've been pretty good about getting it out on our social media page. I know everybody, but we try to get it out on our social media page that they're illegal. When we make an arrest, we try to get that out there so people know, you know, that we're taking this serious throughout the city.
Thank you.
All right, I have one more question on this. As of right now, we don't have an ordinance, but we're working on it. You guys have a plan that is in progress, but what happens if something come up today and you guys have the opportunity to do something about the situation? What is the process to perhaps take those bikes away today?
So again, even without the ordinance, like you said, it is illegal to operate a dirt bike on any street in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. So we are actively, you know, going out there, targeting these individuals when we can get them, apprehend them when we can get them. Again, this just is something on the books that's going to allow us to have several more avenues to pursue, where, you know, it's, you can't have them and operate them on your property unless you have 2.5 acres of land. It's going to allow us to seize some of these vehicles and hold on to them for a longer period of time till the cases are disposed of, instead of us having to give them back immediately. So there's a lot of things that target not only the rider, but also the owner of these bikes, which again will turn around and allow us to hold on to them so they're not on the streets the next day.
Thank you so much. There is any other comment on item 12422? So, just gonna jump into item 12522, which is basically the noise handling by illegal non-registered motorcycles. So what you guys are doing today in terms of handling the noise?
So are you talking about the noise ordinance in general, Council?
The noise that come out of the motorcycles in case.
Okay, so again, those would be covered under 9.04.04, which is the noise ordinance in the city of Lawrence. On a regular basis, officers are out there. If somebody's got a loud muffler from a car or a loud muffler from a motorcycle, the officer will pull that individual over, and they're subject to a fine of $200 under the city ordinance for loud music or loud muffler. Some of the times, again, officers will either educate the person and give them a warning, but I would say most of the time they are issued a $200 citation, blue ticket, which is a city ordinance violation, and then that person is advised that they need to get that re-inspected and fix the muffler.
Understood. Right, we now would like to, hello. All right, we have item 12422. Can I get a motion to table that item?
So move.
Motion to table the 12422.
Second.
Motion to table is properly second. Item 12422, first item on the agenda. I call the roll call. Councilor Infante,
Yes.
Councilor De Rosario,
Yes.
and Councilor, the chair vote yes. Councilors, we have item 12522, which is the noise handling by illegal non-resident motorcycles. That item is it's in the discussion right now, and I open the floor for the councilors in case we have any questions on this item. Councilor Infante.
Another comment. And I can speak, I'm speaking about my district specifically, District E. My major concern is not necessarily the loud motorcycles. It's more the loud cars. We have more of that so far. I mean, we're just starting to get the nice weather, so that could change. But, and I know you guys are trying your best, but I just ask that you continue to try to be on top of that as much as you can.
Absolutely, Council.
Is there any question? Okay, good. Councilor De Rosario?
Through you, Chairperson, Chairman. Those noises are coming for those illegal motorcycles too, are they all included in there? Those, dirt bikes and all that stuff? What are we
Yes.
doing about it? Last weekend, we were in the park when we were doing the egg hunting thing, and like 10 of them passed by, and we all look at each other like, okay. And nothing happened, so wondering, I remember last summer, we were taking them away, but this summer, they're all out doing it all over again.
Yeah, so again, I know you weren't here for the beginning part. We've come up with a operational plan to address the illegal dirt bikes. Again, there's several obstacles that we face. When we try to pull these individuals over, they take off. And we have a no-chase policy due to liability issues. A lot of these individuals either have no plate on their bike because it's an illegal dirt bike, or if they do have a plate, the plate is either obstructed or turned up. So again, it is a major challenge for us. We are trying to employ different tactics, which again, we don't want to get into in public, but we are trying to do different tactics to address the issue. And I think we've got a pretty good operational plan and in place for 2022. And we'll do several operations, not only with the Lawrence Police Department, but also our partners at the state police, as well as other local law enforcement agencies. So again, I think you'll be seeing some good stuff coming your way quite soon, Councilor.
Yes, just to finish up the conversation on the noise handling. So perhaps today, if you got somebody that have an illegal motorcycle that you guys, for some reason, somehow didn't pursue it, but were able to catch, would you be able to issue a noise ordinance ticket right away?
Yes, yep.
That's
And
the
again, so
procedure?
if we stop somebody that has an illegal dirt bike and they stop, if they're not operating it in a reckless manner, they're not gonna be arrested. What will happen though is they will be towed, and if it's a loud bike, they will be issued a citation for $200 for the loud noise. We are seizing any dirt bike that we can, that's on the street. They don't get to take that dirt bike and go home with it. It's seized. We go through a process to make sure that they have the proper paperwork, that it's not stolen. The owner of the bike would have to come down and claim it. So there is a process that goes along with it. So even without the ordinance, we're still doing that and actively doing it.
All right, councilors, since there is no other discussion on item 12522, I'll ask for a motion to table item 12522.
So move.
Second.
All right, and there's a motion on the table, properly second. I call the question. Councilor Infante?
Yes.
Councilor Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. We have two more items from the police department before we jump into any other item, which are two others. We have item 12722 and item 12822. So can I get a motion to take item 12722 out of order to proceed with the agenda?
So move.
All right, there's a motion on the table, properly second. I call the question. Councilor Infante? Councilor Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. So we have item 12722, which is the license plate readers technology. An update on that, we will highly appreciate it.
Good afternoon again. So the license plate readers are still active on 3 vehicles, and obviously we're using them to the best of our ability to track unregistered motor vehicles, uninsured motor vehicles. And when we find those motor vehicles, stolen motor vehicles, they're dealt with, whether they're towed, ticketed, or both.
Chief, can you give us like, perhaps not an update, but a basic information as of how those plate readers works, and what's the main objectives of that program?
Sure, the license plate readers are on 3 different motor vehicles that we have, 1 in community policing and 2 in patrol. Basically, as the vehicle travels down the roadway, there is sensors or readers, if you will, that are mounted on the vehicle that are running all the plates. The vehicles are, and the plates are, or the technology and software is hooked into the Massachusetts CJIS system. One, just like as if we ran every individual plate ourselves, that is run as the vehicle is traveling. It goes back and alerts the operator, the officer, if there's a problem with that plate, so he can circle back to it, whether it's stolen, uninsured, unregistered, or maybe it's wanted in a crime, or things like that, and give him an opportunity to go back and further investigate. And there are errors when that happens, so it's nothing more than a tool for the officer to further investigate that particular plate.
So we currently have 3 vehicles in the city. They are active. I mean, I remember back then when I started in the city as a city councilor, that the program was active already in 2015. So how successful those vehicles has been in terms of fighting crimes?
You know, very successful, I would say. Any additional tool that we can give the officer to do their job efficiently, it helps. So as we were speaking, instead of the officer going down the road, physically stopping at every vehicle and running the plate and moving on and running the plate, it's very tedious. He can just go about his business patrolling an area, an alert might happen for a particular plate. He can go back and reinvestigate. So definitely speeds up the process. We have had a lot of issues with the LPR system in terms of the technology and working with the company. We've had them out multiple times. We've had antenna issues. We've had computer issues. So over the years, it's gotten a little bit better. And recently, in talking to the lieutenant in charge of the program, we haven't had any issues recently. So it's definitely a good tool for the officer to have, for sure.
How often are we using those vehicles?
So those vehicles go out daily with the officers that are assigned to them, different officers on different shifts. The one community policing officer that runs it works Monday through Friday, so it's when he's working. If he's off, then it's not out there at that point.
Councilors, is there any question on this, in regard to this update? All right, Chief, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us an update on this.
Okay.
We would like to continue seeing this type of programs
Sure.
in the city of Lawrence. There is some communities that they have those license plate readers on that exit in the main entries of the city, to see if there is somebody that already committing a crime on another cities in town, that we get an alert. But it's always good to get an update as of how we're doing with this type of technology. Councilors, can I get a motion to table item 12722?
Second.
All right, there is a motion on the table, properly second. Councilor Infante?
Yes.
Councilor Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you so much, Chief. The other item that we have is item 128, 22, which is the public camera system update. So, councilors, Chief, I would like to hear more, like, you know, as of how many we already have, what is the investment that we have committed from the city of Lawrence, and how those tools have been doing in terms of fighting crime, and what is the stage that we are, if you can go back to stage 1, what it means, stage 2, 3, and whatever.
So by far, probably the most successful program that we've had in the Lawrence Police Department. It's a program that we started back in 2018 and is still progressing today. Phase 1 was 85 cameras with 2 servers back in August of 2018. Phase 2 is 26 cameras back in February of 19. Phase 3, 20 cameras, 1 server back in September of 2019. Phase 4, 49 cameras, August of 2020. Phase 5, 39 cameras, 1 server in February of 2021. It didn't stop there. We started talking to the other different departments about expanding the program. That's why we call it a citywide camera project, not just a Lawrence Police Department project. So the DPW initiated a project themselves, 45 cameras and 2 quick deploy cameras, which quick deploy cameras is just what it sounds like, the ability to move the camera very quickly It's not locked into that one particular location, and it's able to be moved depending on an issue going on in a particular area. Those particular cameras, I believe, cover 25, 26 parks in the city. All the parks are now covered by at least one camera. And that was in September of 2020. ISD, dealing with the illegal dumping issue and things of that nature, a lot of times they were relying on us to use cameras and move cameras around to dumping spots. We still do that with our own quick deploy cameras. However, they have their own 4 quick deploy cameras that they now can do their own investigations and move around depending on complaints. And that was in January of 2019 that they started that program. Just recently, the Lawrence Housing Authority, we worked with them on a grant for $250,000 to update and add to their existing camera system in all the housing projects. So that system provided 99 cameras and 3 servers. However, 31 of those cameras are outside and 68 cameras are inside. So they're obviously updating their interior camera to make sure all of their residents are safe. But certainly, we could take advantage of that if we needed to do an investigation. And also, the 31 cameras that are deployed around those properties help us in anything that may happen in that neighborhood as well. And that started in March of 2021 and continues today. They're almost done with that first phase of the project. We also initiated a program looking at 13 different intersections. So the City of Lawrence has updated a lot of their intersections. You can tell by the hardware that is now involved over the lights, those big antennas and camera-looking things that are now the sensors to move the lights. Well, I did some research in that and found out that those are actually cameras. So we were actually able to work with the vendor and tap into that resource and use that to give us an additional 13 intersections covered by 26 cameras. So for probably a quarter of the price, we're able to, expand our program significantly. We also have an additional 32 cameras in the interior and exterior of the Lawrence Police Department. So the department was lacking very much in both security for the parking lot and the station itself, the evidence rooms, the booking room, all those things that could cause us liability. So we upgraded that entire system so it's all on the same server. We worked with the city on the Buckley Garage, which has 25 cameras and 1 server. We worked with the city on the Museum Square project, 37 cameras, 1 server. So the total amount of cameras on the city system is 526 cameras. So again, that's not on the street. So when I broke it down, it's roughly about 327 cameras on the street with 9 servers. So when you go, again, when you go back and deduct the amount of cameras for the Buckley, Museum Square, LHA interior cameras, and Lawrence Police Department interior cameras, you get that 327. There are plans currently to expand. We're always looking for additional funding to do more things. I recently applied for, it's not recently, actually the grant is now coming to fruition through the NERAC Foundation, which is the terrorism entity in the state. I asked for $100,000 cameras. In that project, the requirement of the project is to incorporate at least the benefit of 3 or more communities. So obviously Lawrence being one of them, where I incorporated Methuen, Andover, and North Andover. And basically we've expanded our camera system into their areas, covering both the ins and outs to Lawrence and obviously the ins and outs to their city from Lawrence, and also to the major highways, 93 up on River Road, 495 going down 28 towards Andover. So again, we've expanded our coverage and also given them a little bit of coverage. So if somebody leaves Andover from that area that's committed a crime, whether they're getting on the highway or coming into Lawrence, we have a little additional coverage there. And also River Road towards 93. We also covered the Rotary in Lawrence off of Manchester Street, Barker Road and Curran Hill Road, both in and out of Methuen. So if something happens there, coming here, or here going there, we have an additional coverage as well. And again, no cost to the city. So again, we continue to look at different funding possibilities. I have a request through the city for the CIP. I know there hasn't been a CIP project this year. I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but I did ask for an additional $100,000 in funding to, again, expand the program. I know all of us here have had conversations about wanting more cameras, so it's been a great program, and I'm hoping to continue to expand it. I can't tell you the amount of success stories that we've had, everything from missing persons to, people with autism, the elderly walking away, then obviously the crimes that it's been able to help us solve. Back in the day, I could tell you as an example, we would have shots fired incidents where there was no victim, there was no witnesses, kids driving by and just shooting off the gun in the air for whatever reason. And those crimes many times didn't go investigated or solved because no witnesses, no victims, no cameras. Well, now we're solving a great deal of those crimes. Now, why is that beneficial for the city? Because those individuals, although this time shooting off in the air, they're the ones that next time are going to be shooting at someone, and causing obviously property damage and or death. So it's important for us to get as many of those individuals off the street as quickly as we can, and the cameras have been a great deal of resource in that regard. I can also tell you that all of our clearance rates on all of our crime categories are above the national average in every category. And that's significant in regards to bringing down the amount of crime in the street. Why? Because the quicker you can get somebody off the street, they're not going to commit another crime. The statistics that we have in law enforcement tells us that a small percentage of people commit a great deal of crime. So the quicker you can get someone off the street, you're going to solve, or stop, I should say, future crimes from happening. So that's why we want to get someone and solve a crime very quickly. And the cameras have been a great resource in clearing those crimes very quickly, holding somebody accountable, taking them off the street, and again, preventing future crimes. So the camera system itself, the project has been an invaluable source to the city of Lawrence.
To the other councilors. So I want to know about a couple of things. The ordinance. So how are we doing with the ordinance in terms of making sure that we are following what we wrote down? And how many people have access to the camera right now in terms of getting information out of that? Everybody can see it, but not everybody can have access to it. And another question that I have, so you can leverage all of those together. The request for information law that we have in the state of Massachusetts, how the people can get access to those video footage, perhaps, in case that they need to solve a particular situation. It could be an accident or whatever. How those things are working. So access, ordinance, and request for information.
So the ordinance, we have been following the ordinance, to your point, and some of the things in the ordinance in terms of editing and monitoring when cameras go up and down. We purchased a system to do just that for us. So as an example, in the middle of the night, if one of the cameras went down because of a power outage, somebody hit the pole or something like that, the system automatically tells us, sends a message not only to us, but to the vendor that this particular camera, there's a problem with it. So the camera itself is monitored in terms of when it's up and when it's down. So if somebody were to come back to us and say, I'd like some camera footage on this, and we tell them, oh, we don't have it, it wasn't working, there's an auditing system that will verify that we're not just telling them that because we're trying to withhold information. We wanted to make sure that that was very transparent and that the computer system does it for us. So that is being followed in the ordinance. Other items in the ordinance are such as not sharing of the camera footage. We've done that very well. We don't share it with immigration, as an example. People were worried about things like that. That has not happened. So I think we're monitoring that and following that very closely. Who has access to the cameras? Every single police officer at some level. Some are very just basic. They can look at an intersection and see if something happened there. Like as in other words, the dispatchers, the call takers, they can look up there and they can see live footage, or they can go back and see an event. But they don't necessarily have access to recording it, downloading it, certainly not editing it. There are only 2 individuals that can download the information for court. Those are 2 certified video specialists that we've sent for certification and for special schooling. Those are individuals that will prepare those items for court. Officers can request video footage just like the public can. There's a form they fill out, this date and time, this camera, this location, I need X footage from this time, and they file that with us. These 2 individuals will take that information, will prepare the document, the footage, and they will get that to the individual that has requested it, whether it's a resident, an attorney, the district attorney's office, et cetera.
So you mentioned that there is a form at the police station
And online,
and online that people can get access to, download it, print it, and request information out of those
Exactly.
cameras.
and many times that happens. We'll have attorneys call us for car accidents. It may not be something that we're investigating because it's just a minor, under $1,000, but if they want, hey, I want to give my insurance company this information, we've done that many times. And again, it's been an invaluable service for hit and runs and things like that as well. And I will also say, you know, back in the day, it was not unlike someone to walk in and report a stolen motor vehicle or a hit and run or a burglary to their vehicle and report it to the city of Lawrence, and we had to take their word for it. Now, there's an entire investigation that's done. I can tell you many times, people come in trying to say this, that, and another thing happened in Lawrence, whether it's those particular crimes I talked about, or even something worse, stabbing, shootings, or whatever. Come to find out, they're lying to us, and we disprove it by showing them the cameras. Well, you said this happened. Well, it obviously did not happen, because you were never there or whatever. Come to find out, oh, I was in Lowell, I was here, I was there, and they're trying to, you know, hide what they were doing somewhere else. But back in the day, we didn't have that tool, but now we have it. And again, it's accessible to the public as well when they fill out that form.
Councilors, there is any question on this item? I have one final question. Chief, how we doing in terms of public relationship in that public sharing information with the police department? Perhaps if a crime happen around a neighborhood, how you guys are doing in terms of going up there, talking to the community, look, we're solving this crime, can you help us if you have footage? How you guys are doing with that?
Yeah, I think it's been very well. Obviously, we, you know, before the pandemic and all those things, we're going to a lot of community events. We go to, you know, every community event out there and meetings. You're there many times seeing us, counselors, you're there as well, seeing us. So we try to build that relationship with them. Many times when we have crimes happen, it may not be covered fully on our cameras, but it may be a business, it may be a residence, and it's been very good that they've allowed us to access that information and help us build a case. I'm not sure if it was you, Counsel, that came to the station. I know I showed a couple of counselors this particular software and the way that our video experts were able to put together crimes. The reason I bring that up is kind of in your questioning. They put together a video showing a person coming to the city, conducting a shooting, leaving the city. They put this all together in a very like a 2-minute clip, if you will, using both our cameras and residence cameras and business cameras. It's pretty amazing what they're able to put together to show a story. So to your point, the residents and the business owners have been tremendous in helping us, you know, put together some of these cases and helping us solve their crimes.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you for coming today. I highly appreciate it. If there is no further question, I'll ask for a motion to table.
Second.
All right, motion, there's a motion on the table, properly second. I call the questions. Councilor Infante? Yes. Councilor De Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you so much, Chief.
Thank you so much, councilors. Have a good
I
night.
appreciate it. We have 2 more items. One that is correspondence that we wanted to be sent, and the other item is item 9822. Councilors, can I get a motion to get item 9822 out of the table matters?
So moved.
Second.
All right, there is a motion on the table, properly second. Councilor Infante?
Yes.
Councilor De Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Item 9822 is the safety concern with the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit Authority. It was put together by Councilor Rosario, myself, Giovanni Rodriguez. So we have the administrator from the Merrimack Valley Regional Transit. We highly appreciate that you're here. Just name and address for the record, and then we can expand.
Yes, good evening, councilors, and my name is Noah Berger. I'm the administrator for the MVRTA. We are based at 85 Railroad Avenue in Haverhill. And I just, with me, I have Angel Cortez, who's our AGM for operations, and New York Mendez, who's our communications director. So if there's stuff that I don't know, I will definitely pass it off to them.
You wanna jump in? Yeah, Councilor Rosario was the champion on this, so I open the floor and I would like him to open the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you guys for showing up. I mean, it's something personal that when I was a driver of you guys, I realized that we didn't have in the city. And while driving, I talked to a driver and I say, and they asked me the same question. It's about bus stops. And they asked me the same questions, why the city it didn't have bus stops. When I actually got elected, I said, I'm gonna find out why we don't. So when I asked the city, they say, it's not us. It's Merrimack Valley Transportation that they somehow need to figure it out. We provide the land or whatever they need and then have to figure it out. I still don't know why, right? So I talked to the chairperson, the chairman, Mr. Councilor Rodriguez, and I said, why don't we put something together and bring the man so we can find out why we don't have bus stop. While I was a driver, I kind of learned that if we had bus stops, the bus service would be better, time, safety, and it would be better for both the city and also the bus company. Less accident, because most of the accident happen when you're going to pick up or we're going to drop off. Pull it in, pull it out. But in the city, we have the old flag system, which a lot of people understand, which a lot of people don't understand. And to me, it was always unsafe. Don't pick up a flag person from the left. Yeah, but they don't understand that you're not going to pick them up, but they're going to run across the street to pull the bus over. And instead, if you have a stop there, you're going to stop, you're going to wait your minutes, you're going to be there on time. Or if you're there early, you're going to wait for your time, and that person is going to cross and going to go on the bus, and it's not dangerous. Also, it concerned me, bus number 40, 100 stop between Common Street and Park Street. Constantly stopping, dropping people off, picking them up, dropping people off, picking them up. Again, safety and also traffic. I mean, it's horrible. It's not the bus itself that create the traffic jam, but it helps, again, and it will help if we have stops. It will help your on-time performance, and it will be more safe for our community or the people taking the bus, and it's also going to be more safe for the drivers. So I don't get it, or I don't understand it. That's why we started this conversation. What can we do to put this together that's going to benefit both? Again, I think the city and also the bus. So that's why you guys are here, and thank you for coming in.
Well, thank you, Councilor, and I have to say, I love the way you think. If you ever decide to get out of politics and want to go back to driving a bus, we would welcome you because we're on the same wavelength here. As you know, I started back in August as administrator, and the first thing I did was go out to meet with community groups. I rode the buses. I talked to drivers. We actually we set up what initially was going to be a good ideas group, and it got changed to a great ideas group, and that's where we have a bunch of drivers, mechanics, people who oftentimes know what's going on, but it doesn't always filter to the rest to the agency, and that's definitely something that came up. Likewise, in conversations with the Planning Commission, they said we have been advocating to have bus stops on our area for years, and nothing has come of it. So you'll be very happy to know that we just ordered 500 poles to install bus stop signs. We're actually, and we're working with, we actually met with the mayor on Monday, talking about, we have the poles. We're planning to site those across the city as well as the other 15 communities we serve. We want to work with them to make sure we're putting them in the right places. Because right now, everyone thinks it's a great idea at the 30,000-foot level. Once you put it in front of someone's business or someone's house, they either love it or hate it. So we want to make sure we're doing it right now. But absolutely, I agree with everything you said. It's safer. It's more convenient. It's better for the riders. Right now, it works only for those who really know our system inside and out, but not for someone who we're trying to get who may not be familiar with our system. It's fairly intimidating to just wait on the side of a road for a bus to show up. So I promise you, Councilor, this is something, when we come back to talk to you about this, you'll be talking about how beautiful our bus stop signs are. And other things we're doing, just because you got me here, you know that we're free now, system-wide, not just 3 routes. We are working to be more visible and and something that folks in the community know about. Quite frankly, we found out that there are people who could use our service but just weren't aware that we're here. So we will, when you were driving, you may have been a little ashamed that the buses were the most boring buses in the country. They were just plain white buses with a little blue stripe and a little red stripe. Soon, you're going to see the most vibrant, colorful buses that people are going to know are there and be happy to see as part of the community. We've heard from senior citizens who initially there was some caution that they wouldn't want to ride a colorful bus or a colorful van, and they said, "Are you kidding me? That's we don't like riding the buses they currently are because people think that's for old people. And now if they're bright and colorful, that will bring more people in addition to the already 40% increased ridership we got from going free. Another thing we're doing is straightening our routes out, because we had a number of routes that zig and zag and take a meandering path, and we're making them direct. I think we said that if you wouldn't drive that way or you wouldn't walk that way, our buses shouldn't be going that way. So it's a work in progress. It takes a while to get these things done, but we're pretty excited about some of the stuff we're doing, and I think bus stops are at the very top of that list.
How flexible you are with your time right now, and as well as the councilors? Because we have another meeting that it's probably 1 or 2 items that they need to take care of. And they won't have a quorum if we don't finish up. So you guys are willing to stay, or we can just resume this conversation in another meeting? It's up to you if you guys wanted to, either or. That's fine, it happened. So you guys have some time, probably like, I don't know, maybe 20, 25 minutes or 30 minutes, or we can.
Yeah.
Yeah. Essentially, it will be helpful.
Yeah.
Because we have, this is the first time that I have the opportunity to talk about this. Never thought about it. And I'm glad that Councilor Rosario have brought this up. But we can maybe rejoin in another time.
Yeah, like a regular meeting that we can schedule
Yeah.
and discuss all of this,
Yeah.
Right, I mean, I think Neo raised a good point. We're happy to talk in this setting, but I think what we've found is that the dialogue is what works best, and we're open to that, at your discretion, what makes sense for you.
Definitely. At the end of the day, what we wanted to have this type of conversation. Obviously, having it here, it's not only to us, it's with the public. And a lot of people definitely appreciate having a conversation of this type at this level. So what we can do, we can definitely table the matter at this point, if it is no more questions, I'm assuming. I hold up on my questions to just allow the other meeting to happen. And eventually down the road, probably like in 4 or 5 weeks, probably 6 weeks, we can might rejoin. Again, we send you the invitation, and I hope that you guys can join us and finish up the conversation. It is very interesting to know that every bus are free around the region, and that's cool. Councilors, I would like to ask for a motion to table on item 9822.
So move.
Second.
All right, there's a motion on the table, properly second. Councilor De Rosario,
Yes.
Councilor Infante,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Councilors, very quick, I would like to send correspondence to finish the meeting to about item 12622. It's a quarterly site visit to the Lawrence Public School to observe safety issues and concerns. I would like to send correspondence to the LEE board and the superintendents
So move.
about this matter.
Is that a move?
You're making a motion, right?
Yeah. So move.
Second.
All right, it's a motion on the table to send correspondence to the LEE board and the Lawrence Public Schools. Properly second, I call the motion. I call the question. Councilor Infante,
Yes.
Councilor De Rosario,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Thank you, councilors. It was a great meeting. Motion to adjourn.
Second. So move.
I call the question. Councilor Infante,
Yes.
Councilor Rosario?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you so much.